Hi, I'm Josh, founder of the Accountability Group, and I am Josh, vigilantly fighting in recovery against the diseases of addiction and mental health. I'm in the process of moving, so even though today's the 16th, we're playing a little bit of catch up because moving is a pain. I'll just say that at the beginning of each one of these, and then we'll go through the readings and I'll tell you about my experience, strength, and hope. And hopefully each one of you who views these videos, maybe you can get something out of it and add a tool to your toolbox in order to stay sober and stay on the road to recovery. So let's get started with the Daily Stoic. Make the words your own. Many words have been spoken by Plato, Zeno, Chrysippus, Pausanias, and a whole host of equally excellent Stoics. I probably pronounced most of those names wrong. I'll tell you how people can prove their words to be their own by putting into practice what they've been preaching. Seneca, Moral Letters. One of the criticisms of Stoicism by modern translators and teachers is the amount of repetition. Marcus Aurelius, for example, has been dismissed by academics as not being original because his writing resembles that of other earlier Stoics. This criticism misses the point. Even before Marcus's time, Seneca was well aware that there was a lot of borrowing and overlap among the philosophers. That's because real philosophers weren't concerned with authorship, only what worked. More important, they believed that what was said mattered less than what was done. And this is true now as it was then. You're welcome to take all the words of the great philosophers and use them to your own liking. They're dead, they don't mind. Feel free to twerk and edit and improve as you like. Adapt them to the real conditions of the real world. The way to prove that you truly understand what you speak and write, that you truly are original, is to put them into practice. Speak them with your actions more than anything else. I really enjoyed that passage because it really goes to the strength of the program, of my programs. My experiences were really bad. I don't really talk about them that much, but they were bad. Let's just put it that way. So sticking to the idea of, what was being said on August 12th, make the words your own. For me, the strength that I've gained in recovery in my time has really been the whole idea of something as simple as you have to talk the talk and walk the walk. Making the words, your own. I mean, we all stand on the shoulders of people that came before us, and that's why technology and everything that we have has been rapidly developing over the years, and we learn from those who came before us. So whether it was Marcus Aurelius or Seneca the Younger, it doesn't really matter. Hobsonian theory, it doesn't really matter where we get those words from, but in terms of my fellowships, the steps do matter, and into action does matter. You have to put in the effort if you really want it. You could need it, you could want it, you could desire it, but in all reality, you have to have an intentional willingness to put in the hard work in order to stay within the guardrails and remain sober. And for me, what's really helped is looking for the people who demonstrate the things that I want to have, and I try and gravitate towards them and stay in the center of the fellowship. So individuals who I see regularly coming to meetings, providing service work, whether that's stacking chairs that aren't their own, or making coffees, greeting people at the door. Personally for me, like at my home group, I'm the men's liaison, so anytime I see somebody who I've never seen at the meeting before, I immediately go over to them and I get their number and try and get them connected to other people. Text people a lot. One of my buddies and I would try and see who's the first one to say Happy Friday. He always loses because I have chronic insomnia and I also am a member of the 5 a.m. club. So worst case scenario, I'll be up by 5 a.m. Today, my chronic insomnia was terrible and I got like 2 hours of sleep. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So that was my strength of the program, because it's a blueprint not only of how to stay sober and in recovery, but it's also a blueprint for life. It's an instruction manual of how to engage and navigate the world, the real world that we're in right now. So, making the words your own is just an interpretation of how you are going to read, Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous, both of which are, my issues, along with the co-occurring issues of mental health. So I do things like CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, and ACT, acceptance commitment therapy. So it's basically just me trying to figure out a healthy balance. That way I don't let my dark passenger, who is cunning, baffling, and powerful, come and attack my spiritual malady, which is what I really have. I'm not a bad person trying to be good. I'm a sick person who's trying to get well. And I've been doing a really good job of that once the universe decided to hit me really hard in 2016, 2017. And it was pretty rough, to say the least. So my hope for you is that you have the opportunity to read a little bit of literature each day. Like when my feet hit the ground, I make sure that I go through all 5 of the books that I'm reading to you. Whether I have the opportunity to record them or not, the day of is challenging, especially with this move coming up. And then I have a few other things going on where I don't know how I'm going to be able to arrange that, because I have to be out in different places, but I'll figure that out. But my main hope for you is that you have the opportunity to really internalize and have the words from these books like resonate with you. Always comparing in when you're at meetings and sharing, even if it's uncomfortable at first. That's one of the big things that I hope for everyone, because these diseases aren't something that I would ever wish on anyone. And it's one of the things that scares me, that as I get older, if I am going to have, a bunch of children, I don't really want to pass this gene along to them. I'm hoping it skips them like it skipped my parents, because it was my grandparents who had similar problems that I have, but fortunately my parents don't have it. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that when I do eventually get married and have kids, that it skips them and that they don't have to go through this, because it's something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's just, when I think about all the different things, the DTs, the shakes, the sweats, the restlessness, the restless leg, nodding, just all sorts of bad stuff. Just really, really bad seizures and rapid response teams, and flatlining. It's not something that I would wish on anyone. So what I hope for you is try and find some meaning, some nuggets that you can add to your toolbox. That way, whenever life throws some adversity your way, you always have a little bit of hope. There's always that sliver of hope that I'm going to get through it. Sometimes when we're really in our recovery and we're really being tested, that's when we're probably doing things right. The universe, or however you want to describe it, when you're going through difficult times, you're going to be testing how well you're working your program. So what I really hope for you is that you have the opportunity to read the literature, or engage with your fellowships, or engage with your friends and family and concerned loved ones, because that's a great resource and a safe harbor where you can really keep yourself within the guardrails, like I said, and not allow the dark passenger, which I stole from Dexter, to take over. So please, subscribe to our YouTube channel for the accountability group, watch the videos and like them, and most importantly, comments. The comments would be great, whether it's newcomers who are commenting on what their experiences are in the early stages of recovery and what pause they might be going through, so post-acute withdrawal syndrome or symptoms. That's always something that within the first 30 days, it can be really rough, those first few days. It's going to be really rough even if you do a 90 and 90, which is what people call it. But what I learned from someone years ago is he was like, I don't really care about the 90 and 90, because what are you going to do on the 91st day? And that really resonated with me when I was comparing in, and I was just like, listen, I I'm not too worried about 90 and 90 because that's kind of future tripping in my mind. What I'm focused on is when my feet hit the ground, I have 24 hours, just like everybody has 24 hours. Am I going to make good choices, or am I going to make bad choices? Am I going to make things that move me more towards recovery, or am I going to make choices that move me more towards relapse? And it's as simple as that. So I really hope that you have the ability to make the words that you read in all of this literature resonate with you in a manner that keeps you safe. So you can always reach out to me on YouTube and send me a message, or write in the comment section and I'll respond. You can also, if you're on Twitter, you can find me at tag building hope is my handle, and on Instagram it is tag recovery. I get frequent messages from different people on various platforms, but for me, I manage YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram exclusively. Those are mine, so you'll get responses from me, the founder, directly. I let the rest of the marketing team handle other aspects of the company, but these are the areas where, because I lived it and was a chronic relapser, and then finally was able to get it to click and have been in recovery for a bit now, my focus is really on service work and helping other people. So that's what I hope for you. Reach out if you ever need any help, and I will actively listen if you just need to vent. And then I'll tell you some of the stuff that I do that helps me get through the day to ensure that I stay sober. Because it really is one day at a time, and that's how you look at it. Just take it one day at a time. That might be a really rough hour, or 20 minutes, or 10 minutes, or you might really just be taking it one breath at a time, because this disease is kind of baffling and powerful. So what I wish for all of you is to stay safe, stay strong, and stay sober. Again, I'm Josh, vigilantly battling the diseases of addiction and mental health, and thanks for letting me share.